Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Because of increased infection numbers, our government and local administrations have started to tighten the restrictions in many states and communities. Many people, however, are not really complying with these measures and they are trying to get around it or do what they want to do in secret or sometimes openly protesting against it also. But let me tell you, I feel a lot safer knowing that our law enforcement is on top of things. They patrol the streets very tightly here in Germany and they also persecute these rule breakers and unlawful people into their own homes so that we, the citizens of Germany, can feel safe and secure. In today's video, I want to give some examples so that you get an idea of what we're dealing with here in Germany. Allow me again to thank all my supporters and my subscribers. If you like this kind of material, like, share and subscribe. And if you want to support my work, you can do so via PayPal or via Patreon or Subscribestar. The first story I want to talk about is from our capital, Berlin. As you all know, restaurants, cafes, pubs and clubs are closed right now. So that is why some creative young people thought, hey, why don't we make our own? That is of course illegal in and of itself because you need a license if you want to do that, like if you want to sell alcoholic beverages or if you want to have a pub or something. And you cannot have a pub. You are of course not allowed to turn your apartment into a club or into a pub or something like that. But desperate times call for desperate measures, it seems. And I thought I will just translate this short article to you here directly. The police in Berlin took down an illegal karaoke party with more than 40 members, against 4 of which there was an arrest warrant already. An anonymous caller called the police to a house in Lichtenberg on Sunday morning because of noise, the police reported on Sunday. When the police arrived on the scene, they heard loud music from an apartment on the second floor. When the officers knocked, the music was turned down. Many people tried to escape via the roof. After more forces arrived, the officers were checking 24 men and 17 women in the apartment and on the roof. None of them was wearing a mask. The police was filing reports. On Sunday, nothing was known about the age of the involved people. During their checks, the police realized that there had been arrest warrants for 4 of these party guests. They were brought to the police department. The police could not say anything about the nature of these arrest warrants. In this apartment, a bar and a karaoke machine had been set up. The party gave an impression of a commercial event, said a police spokeswoman. The police filed charges due to suspicion of tax evasion, and because nobody showed himself responsible for this apartment, the police left it locked. So if the person who was living there wants to avoid charges now, they somehow have to quietly get out of their rental contract, I guess, and find another apartment. But I'm sure the police has found out already who this tenant was. This just goes to show that you just cannot lock up people for 1 year. They will do what they want to do anyway, and they do it in secret if it is not possible to do these things officially or publicly. And then there is another spectacular case from Zwickau. Here the police raided an illegal gambling ring. 3 people who live in 3 different households were caught playing the German card game Skat, and they were fined, of course. I don't think the gambling was the problem here. The problem was that they were just sitting around a table. All 3 of them. Can you believe that? And also in this case, this illegal meeting took place in a private apartment, and our brave men and women in law enforcement, they were given a hint by a concerned citizen, a model citizen who fulfills his duty to our government and to our society. to call the cops on your neighbors when you think that more than two of them are sitting around a table. Our leader Angela Merkel has made it very clear that the tolerance of the government is at its limits right now. The summer of tolerance is over and the winter of law and order has started. Well, law and order only in some cases and only if the rules are broken by the members of a certain group. We have to be tough, but of course we must still discriminate. And then there is a third example that is a little extreme, I would say. I cannot show this on YouTube. If you want to see the whole video, check it out on my Telegram channel. The link to my Telegram is in the description down below. These events took place in the Thuringian town of Pößneck. A group of nasty malcontents wanted to protest against our wise leadership. This was of course not allowed by the authorities. And then these dissidents thought that they can be smart and sneaky and they said, well, we're not demonstrating, we're just individually going for a walk, which was still officially allowed, of course. Well, not of course, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? But the brave officers of the Republic could not be fooled as easily as that. They could easily see that that was not a normal walk in the evening. No, this was dangerous dissidents and opposition members actually walking on the street of a German town. That cannot be tolerated, of course. So they were asked to go home. When they didn't comply, the defenders of the glorious German state fearlessly attacked these evil rule breakers and wrestled them down. I'm sure they learned their lesson and they won't disrespect Angela Merkel anytime soon. So these were 3 cases that I wanted to present to you so that you get a little bit of an impression of what is going on in Germany at the moment. Of course, some of them are extreme examples and these things don't happen on a daily basis and it doesn't happen to everyone. As you've seen on my walking tours that I uploaded recently, you can still normally walk around in Germany, of course. But still, I would not call the situation normal. In the Germany that I grew up in, at least, it wasn't normal to call the police on your neighbors when they were having a quiet little gathering. Of course, this loud karaoke party is a different issue and probably that would have been too loud anyway. Pandemic or no pandemic. But the reason why they hosted this party there in the first place is of course the pandemic and all the restrictions that we're living under right now. I must say though that this whole Blockwart mentality of these self-appointed overzealous deputies is getting a little far in my taste. Just imagine what kind of a broken individual you have to be in order to call the cops on 3 men who are having a card game in their own apartment. And I also cannot imagine that those cops feel all too hot when they have to enforce these ridiculous rules and then they have to enter people's apartments and fine them for playing cards. It goes without saying, of course, that while all this happens during this whole year, serious criminals can just enter Germany and do whatever they like. They don't have to fear any consequences. They know that Germany will just look the other way and that the rules are not there for them, but for the peaceful, law-abiding German taxpayers. It is just my subjective personal impression, but it seems to me as if people are getting more and more fed up now in Germany. People are just sick and tired of 2020, and if things just go on in 2021 the way that they just ended in this year, I don't think people will have a fresh start. People will get even more annoyed if this goes on for much longer. And of course, I will also do my best in 2021 to give you some kind of an idea about what is going on here. Take care, Servus, Kameraden.